Hey guys, you're listening to an episode of We're All Fucked, a podcast all about sex, dating, and relationships in this fucked up world we're currently living in. This podcast is hosted by me, myself, and I, Sasha Fierce, and I just love talking about sex. So come join me in bed. Oh, fuck yes. Today's topic is dating, more specifically dating without a purpose, aka just wanting to get fucked, you know? And joining me today on this discussion is my friend Mo. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. All right, let's get in bed. So generally, what are your opinions on dating or lack thereof? Maybe your situation or what you see in the world?
I feel like there's two ways you can go with dating. You can date with a purpose, meaning, hey, you're dating to get married, have kids, have the family life, things of that sort. You can date without a purpose where you just want to get fucked, just have a good time, no strings attached, or you can do like, oh, friends with benefits type of deal. So that's what I feel about. It's much easier. For most, some people do form attachments and it leads into that, and that's normal. But yeah.
And that's the thing. I feel like, traditionally, girls, especially back when we women were not working and we really had to rely on that man to take care of us and, you know, looking for that perfect mate and somebody with enough money, right, to take care of you and education to be able to take, you know, go forward with that. And I think that, you know, and since, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you know, women have been working and people are now in a place where we have the Mr. Moms and we have the moms that are, you know, working mainly and carrying the weight of the family. So women don't really necessarily need a man. We have a lot of single moms, a lot of single dads out there. And so, you know, sometimes men don't even need a woman, you know, sometimes it's one of those things and you can carry a whole family without having to have that other attachment. But there is still a huge population of people who want that traditional marriage, right? I think a lot of those people come from families that already have that. What's your opinion on that?
They do have that. Oh, my parents been together for 60-something years and I want that. So they'll pursue that. So definitely it's considered the norm or the traditional thing to do. I used to think, first and foremost, I used to think I didn't want kids. I go back and forth with that every relationship. So
as you should.
So I like the whole dating without purpose, the whole, I'm going to have sex, have fun. But sometimes you get to a point where, I kind of just want one person to do this shit with because it gets too much.
It's almost like a part-time job, if not a full-time job, if you really want to thought it out. You know, it's just like, wait, who am I with today? Today's Wednesday? Oh, you know, you need to focus. But I think that you're right. I think that when families are like, my parents have been together 60 years, my grandparents 40 years, for those of you who don't know, I do a little bit of DJing on the side. And I remember a couple of months ago, maybe it was right when the weather broke. So maybe around September, I did a bachelorette party. And the theme of the party was, we're just all in the same freaking community because the grandparents met each other at the same high school. The parents met each other at the same high school. And then the girl who was getting married and her fiance, they're like 27, 28 years old, both met each other at the same high school, which was 3 blocks away from the house that they had this party at. So everybody in the family lives in the same neighborhood. 3 generations in, they've all been high school sweethearts. What? This has been a thing. And so I was like, wow, this is a beautiful trend to have. A lot of pressure, right? A lot of pressure on these people. If you get a divorce, that squashes the whole tradition.
Not only that, the whole community is
the whole community is destroyed. You know, I felt like the entire neighborhood of people were just at this party. It was almost eerie, and it was only 10 minutes away from here. So it's North Jersey, where it's like, you know, you kind of feel like in the kind of city life that you have a little more of those, you know, people who are not really like that, but they're all over the place. You know, our generation, especially the millennials, elder millennials, we're in our early 30s, we're feeling it. But I think that especially going from back in the day when you could be 27 years old and get married and have your first baby and have your first house and be established. And now that 27 has turned into like 37, 47.
Shit.
Because nobody has their shit together.
Exactly. It's kind of hard to do that.
It's really hard to do that. So with that being said, we don't we feel pressured, but also it's like, fuck the pressure you're trying to give us, world, right? Because it's like, we're not dating to marry right now. We're not in that space anymore. Males and females,
No.
I think,
We're
are
trying to get
have fun.
our shit together. We're trying to fucking be established in our careers, in our lives, have a social life, travel, just be in the moment. That's where probably YOLO comes into play.
100%.
So yeah, I like it. It has their pros and cons. You gotta tread lightly with it because you can get caught up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I did it for many years. Many failed relationships. I'll admit I dated with a purpose, and I did have a boyfriend, but also I dated with a purpose and had a boyfriend and had something on the side because it was just the same thing over and over. And at the time I was young and I didn't know, okay, you can get out of a relationship and you can go date other people. But I was just like, okay, well, at the mindset at the time was, okay, I like this person. This is great, but I like this person as well. Didn't think in my mind, what was I like in 18, 19, that you don't need to necessarily be with this person for the rest of your life. There's so many fish in the sea.
Absolutely.
So it's fun.
It is. And I think you're right. And I think that a lot of people, especially the past maybe 10 years, has realized that we should just go out and have fun and reverse the way that we're thinking about dating and marriage and being in relationships. Where back then it was like, oh, I just need to find a husband. I remember feeling that way as a kid, like 10 years old, like talking to, I think I sassed some boy in school and he was like, be my Valentine or something, and I probably was like, with your salary, like something like that, because I just was like looking for a husband, right? Like some bullshit, and then looking for that person that I think fit good husband material without having to actually learn about them slowly, without having that, oh, let's jump to the marriage idea. So there's not like, you know, people think they're cute, like going on a first date and having all these types of questions you want to ask somebody. One of them being, and this is my favorite question, if you had a son or a daughter that came out as being gay, how would you handle that? If you had a son or a daughter who had special needs or a disability when they were born or later, or has cancer, like how is that going to affect us? And these are some questions that people like to have on first dates, but also it's not like, oh, hey, are you trying to get married? Are you trying to not get married? Like, what are we doing here? So I think that with online dating, that question is there, right? I played with Tinder for like 3 weeks as a test, as like kind of like an experiment. I am not, everybody knows, I'm like way too wild and forward to just be on some fucking dating app. I will walk up to you in the middle of Disney World and be like, you trying to fuck over there? Like, I'm trying to fuck over there because you're cute and I'm on vacation and this big ass pina colada in a Mickey cup is making me feel real randy right now.
All types of ways.
Right?
Oh,
but it isn't. And there shouldn't be that much pressure to date. And I think that's where we are right now. It's 2020 and a lot of people are doing the online dating thing. And I say dating air quotes very aggressively because people are just trying to get fucked. True. People are just trying to get fucked and then make relationships later.
So I have an experience with Tinder. So I went on Tinder when I moved here in July, and I met this fucking guy. Jesus Christ. My intentions, and I made it very clear, is I'm trying to fuck, and I'm trying to get fucked hard. Yes, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Cool. No problem. Came here. I was just like, oh my God, this is going to be great. I'm going to get pounded out. This is what I need. This is what I want.
That's what you need.
Fucking came here. I got naked. The massage that he gave me was mind blowing. I almost fell asleep.
Ooh, first date massage.
It's great. Oh my God.
Put your ass to sleep before he got that pussy though.
Jesus Christ. It was going that way. It was going that way.
The fuck?
So then got to it and he was just rubbing on my ass and he was like, oh my God, it looks so much better in person. I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, this is great. And then I had my massage oils and he was massaging my ass and he was just like, okay, you know, got to it. And he was just like, oh my God, your pussy's so good. And I think it had to have been like 1.5 pumps, and he came, and I was just like, but what about me? What about my needs? And I was just like,
that's when cue nap. You should have just taken a nap when you could.
And I fucking text you, and I was just like, he's fucking still here. And he's just like, you want to go for round 2? And I was just like, in my mind, I was like, what the fuck happened to
is round 2?
What happened to round 1?
2, 3.5 seconds?
Like, I cannot. I was just like, no, thank you, but thank you. And he was just like, oh, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm
honey,
fine.
He should have known.
I was just like, no. And I gave him water like he deserved it, like he did work, and just being hospital. And
you're in healthcare, it came naturally.
Yeah, gave him water, and dude was lingering, and I was just like, fuck, he won't leave. He just won't fucking leave. And then I was just like, you know what? Let's wrap this up. You gotta go. And I was like, okay. He's like, okay. And he was just like, oh, you know, I'll walk you out. Walked him out. He was like, oh, you want to do this again? I was like, no, thank you. But thank you.
He asked you that before he left?
Dude texted me, I think, a few weeks ago.
And still have and that was a while ago, I think I remember.
July.
July?
Dude texted me a few weeks ago. I just was like, he texts me and it's like, you want to fuck tonight? I was like, who is this? Because I fucking deleted the number.
But he probably,
the fact that he still had my number is what got me.
But what gets me is that back in July, y'all hooked up, he left, you were like, maybe no, ever again. That was nice.
No, maybe.
But not really no. Definitely no. You kind of, I'm pretty sure you were clear because you're usually very clear with people.
Yeah, I'm very straightforward.
And then to go months later just hitting you with that. And that's the thing. He hit you with that, hey, you trying to fuck tonight? Because what else would you be doing? And honestly, I want to go back and saying, like, he really made sure that massage was great. On purpose, because I'm sorry, honey. If he knows he can't fuck long, he's got to compensate. He's got at least bring you food, bring you a bottle of wine, give you a nice massage. Be terrible in bed. Ask, can we hang out again? I'll give you another bomb massage. I'll bring you tacos and wine.
Bruh.
You know what you're gonna get from me next time. I'm just trying to fuck. Just let me get the 3 pumps in. I feel bad for guys who are like micro penis, or they have like something wrong with their dick, or they can't last, or they can't get it up, and they're just like trying to go out in the world and date. Seriously, these people need to date as well as all of us. Like, and I feel terrible that is something that is still a thing. Okay, if there's something wrong with your shit, you can't avoid that other than surgery or whatever. But if you have not yet been able to train yourself
we're in our 30s
a little bit longer, like everybody knows, you got to sit there and jerk off and try not to come as long as possible. And that's like, even I know that.
This is years of training. You had years of trying to figure out what works for you.
When you got that magic pussy, though.
Don't mean to brag.
It could be a number of things in this dating realm, right?
True.
Like first of all, you found him on Tinder?
Yeah.
So you went on Tinder, which everybody knows is
I made it very clear.
Christian mingle. Let's fucking
in my profile, it said, hey, I just want to fuck. That is it. I don't want a relationship. I can't take a relationship.
Don't give me your last
name. If you
name.
can't fuck, swipe whatever, right, left, wherever it is where you don't contact me, swipe that way. I'm trying to fuck. I made it very fucking clear.
These bios are really, really, like I said, like as an experiment for like a social, like I went on Tinder and I was like, yo, and then I had to Google like some of the best Tinder bios, because some of these people have the wildest bios, but literally just being like, I'm just trying to fuck, and that's your only, but I think that's the most classic thing, because I think that's what really everybody wants to say, but they don't want to say it. And as a female, we've been so much, like there's so much pressure in the world for us to be so dainty and eloquent and ladylike, and no, we want to get fucked too, like I want to fuck as much as y'all do. Like, and when it comes to guys, girls, anything, like, we all have the same amount of capacity of sex. But when you are on Tinder and actively looking for nothing but sex, and you have an experience with somebody where the sex is terrible, what are you doing? That's when you go on Christian Mingle and
no, I don't want this. I don't want this.
Not you, him. Bitch, if you can't fuck like that, you gotta find yourself a nice little
You need a
virgin
one and
who
done.
can only do 2.5 pumps, and then she's like, oh, it hurts. You need one of those bitches. You don't need a bitch with magical ass fucking Cuban Jamaican pussy that you're just gonna turn that dick upside down, and he's gonna be like, can I
Not
come
COVID.
back? And you're like, no. And that's the thing too. COVID numbers are up, and he fucking hits you up like, hey.
Bruh, the fact that he had
the fact that we all wanted to fuck as more like rabbits during COVID is like just a testament to But that is incredible that like he just came out of nowhere months later and just said, hey, you trying to fuck tonight? Because that's the point. You're just trying to fuck right now. And if the fucking's good, because you want to skip over that. And like fucking on the first date is not even a thing that people discuss anymore. Yes, you should be fucking on the first date, at least for most people. And I mean,
you feel, for me, I feel it out. If I feel it, if it happens.
And to our listeners, please, I do want to clarify that I generalize most things, and I am sarcastic about a lot of things. I do not want to offend anybody who literally is sitting there like, I want to date for marriage, and I don't fuck on the first 7 dates, and I have these rules. Listen,
nothing is wrong with that.
Do whatever you fucking want to do. I just don't want. This is just not a podcast to talk about those dainty things. I'm going to be cursing a lot. I'm going to be talking about this rough housing of the sex world, but I just don't think that when you go on a place like Tinder, if you're really looking, if you're just so desperate to look for that husband material, or you're like, listen, like I'm 37, I really want to settle down, I want to find somebody who can fuck good, who can cook good, I still want to settle down, I still will fuck on the first, second, third, or 7th date. I'm on Tinder because I'm desperate, not desperate in that way, being pathetic, but like I don't know where else to go. The social tension that's out there, the actual physical dating that's out there pre-COVID even has not really been a thing. Pre-COVID, for people like in our age group where we're in our 20s and 30s, like the past couple of years, it's been extremely difficult to just go out on a regular date. I hooked up with one of my friends at a bar months ago. It was like a birthday thing. It was at a bar in the city. I'd been like kind of newly single with my ex who's a male, and then I was kind of getting ready to go into the female thing, and I started hooking up with a friend of a friend, right? Not a rando, like I don't have randos in my head, but I hooked up with a friend of a friend at this bar, birthday party thing, and I ended up going home with her that night. It wasn't a one-night stand. It was the only time that I've been with her, but it didn't feel like a one-night stand because she was a friend of a friend. I had already known her. Okay. Actually.
So there was a relationship already there. There was already something known between you guys.
Mutual friendship, understanding where we've met each other. Our friends were married, and we were at the wedding and stuff like that. So I knew of her. I was probably Facebook friends with her already. Okay. And then we hooked up, and then I remember being like, okay, this is fun, like this is kind of like random, like, we did the make out in the cab thing on the way back to her apartment, and we had hooked up. Actually, it wasn't even her apartment, it was her friend's apartment, and we hooked up in the guest room. Look at that. And so I was like, oh, wild, I don't know where these sheets have been, there's just like all this fucking crazy pre-COVID, right? And so I remember, we had that moment, and then it kind of ended with, I guess the next morning, I forget, like we woke up that morning and we didn't get breakfast or anything cheesy. I just kind of was like, hung around, had a glass of water, played around a little bit more, and then I went home. And then she had asked me out, and which was very cordial of her, and she's Southern, so she was like, I would really love to take you out on an actual date, like, and that was great because it wasn't like, oh, there was a one night stand turned into a relationship. It was like, hey, I had already established this kind of a friendship, right? This kind of colleagueship or whatever, mutual friendship. And then it turned into the one wild night, right? Where we both got drunk and we had a good connection at the bar when we were at the party. We went home together. We already had this established something and we had hooked up. The following morning, it wasn't so awkward in our sober, right? When you're that's another thing I'm going to talk about. I'm going to write that down. Sober mornings.
You have sober mornings after drinking the
I
night
mean,
before?
after
I'm not even sober now.
When that hangover, once you turn, like, what is it, 26 years old, your hangovers last 24 hours. I think once you get into the mid to late 30s, your hangovers last two days. Yes. And then it gets worse. And then I think once you hit 70, you don't even get hangovers. You just, it's just life. My whole life is a hangover. Your whole head is a nightmare all day. But no, like I she asked me out on a date, and I remember literally feeling like, holy cow, I don't remember the last time that somebody asked me out on an actual date. We met each other in the city. I don't believe, was I living up here? I might have been living up here already. Yes, I believe I was. Mm-hmm. If not, either way. No, I was living up here because I easily drove to the city. Okay. I think I went to Brooklyn. I met up with her. We went to dinner, walked in. I remember seeing like a bouquet of flowers on a bench next to her for whatever reason. I know what reason because nobody ever does this. But in my brain, I'm just like, oh, someone left their flowers.
So here's some random beautiful flowers.
Some beautiful flowers.
But hey, it's New York, so I'm not surprised. I was like, oh, somebody left their $50 fucking bouquet of flowers. But I literally was like, oh, well, I didn't say like, oh, are those your flowers, or somebody left flowers next to you. I just kind of was like, oh, hey, what's up? And like we kind of got our table and everything. And she let me walk in front of her, and the hostess took us away and didn't really think anything of it. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of saw her arm go under the table and like rattle something. And I was like, oh my God, those were flowers. Are these flowers for me? So I acted really stupid for like 5 seconds. And then like she kind of had this face like, I'm hiding flowers under the table and I don't know when to give them to you face, because nobody dates anymore. And this is a very awkward thing just already. So then she gave me this huge bouquet of flowers. And then at that moment, I also was like, well, what the fuck am I going to do with this huge bouquet of flowers in this restaurant? But I was also overwhelmed with all of this actual traditional dating shit that I haven't had in years. Nobody's had this shit in years. If you have, Southern charm, maybe. Charm. I don't know.
Southern charm. I don't know if it's because she was Southern, the way she was raised. She really thought I would love these flowers. She's just a person that loves to give flowers. Mm-hmm. I personally do not like to receive them. I kill them immediately when they get home. They're already fucking dead. I'm surprised that these flowers over here lasted 4 days. But because somebody gave them to me, and I've been turning them in the sun and watering them and praying to the lords of all the flowers. But I digress. I always digress. But what I'm trying to say is that dating happened for like a day, and I had a fucking panic attack over it. And we sat there across from the table and had a legitimate date. And she really did ask me, what is it that you are looking for? What is it that you're trying to do right now in your romantic life? Because for her, it was looking for somebody to settle down with and have a family. And she wanted to start that kind of soon. And she really wanted to, my age, in her early 30s, maybe late 20s. I think she's early 30s. And so nonetheless, like she just, as a lesbian woman from the South, and she wasn't really accepted, obviously. And she grew up in the life that she grew up in, and she finally made it to the city where everybody's welcome, right? It's like Canada. It's like, we love all of you. Come. You know, we'll be mean to you here in New York, but like we'll still accept you. Yep. You're still part of the fucking fucked up degenerate family that we are here in the city. And she moved, and she had this LGBTQ, blah blah blah, like community that helped her get involved in all this stuff. And now in her early 30s, she's ready to settle down and have a legit family with somebody. Wow. Am I that person? No. Does it have anything to do with the fact that she's a woman? No, not at all. I'm bisexual. I tend to be with men more than women. I watch more female porn. I mean, I'm going to talk to my therapist about that. But I date men more, but I prefer, lesbian porn. But it just was that whole anxiety of, oh my God, like, I would really love to sleep with you again. I would really love to be with you, and go out places with you. And I would like to kind of date you, but knowing that that's the end game for her was enough for me to be deterred. And I know that that's why she brought it up on our first actual date. She wasn't going to bring that up as she was eating my pussy drunkenly that, a couple of nights before. She was going to bring it up on a proper date where she said, hey, listen, if this woman goes out on a proper date with me, that says that she's into me more than just sexually. So let me bring this up to her and let me see if this is something that she is, because she didn't know from Adam where my stance was. She just knew that I was in my early 30s as well, and I was currently single as well, and I just got over a breakup, and she didn't know why or how or what ideas I had. But it was important to her to get that across. We're still friendly. We still chat every now and then. I check up in with her and she checks up on me every now and then when I'm in Brooklyn to visit other friends. She's like, you didn't hit me up. And I'm like, I actually would if it weren't just me stopping in Brooklyn for an hour or two to see my friend and fucking bounce. If I was just in Brooklyn for the day trying to find something to do, hell fucking yeah, to hook up with you again. You're amazing and beautiful.
But I feel like if you were to do that, her feelings would, there's a possibility. There's a possibility we can be together. So
unless I communicate that with her initially, and I think that's the biggest thing.
You didn't say that on the first date?
I did say that on the first date, but if I came back to her and said, hey, are you trying to hang out and hook up again? I don't want her to think, oh, it's been a couple of months, she changed her mind.
Exactly.
I do want to communicate to her, hey, I really want to hook up with you again because, or not just hook up because that sounds terrible. I really want to spend time with you, right? Because sometimes, especially for people like me, emotional and have connections with people, it goes outside of that sexual realm where it's like, hey, I kind of do want to hang out with you.
Exactly.
Have sex with you, obviously, because, but I do want to.
But there's stuff outside of that we can do as well. Okay, I understand that.
But to communicate that to that person is the ultimate thing, and I think that's what she was trying to do, which I love how she handled everything from the jump, where it's like, hey, this is what we're all doing right now, we're trying to get fucked, and then we're trying to figure out our life after that, because I'm not trying to spend the rest of my life with some shitty dick or pussy, and that's what it is. So if you have shitty dick or pussy, I'm sorry, get really good at massages or get really good at making a bitch tacos, because you're going to have to figure out something else to do to satisfy that person. It doesn't necessarily have to be all about sex. The satisfaction has to be there. The communication has to be there. And definitely the way that she just took this, let's fuck, drunkenly talk to each other in a bar, have that connection, fuck, get it over with, have a proper date. Not fuck on the first date, fuck before the first.
Oh, we're just doing things in order here, huh?
But, oh my God. So that's an interesting take on those things. Now, I didn't meet her on Tinder. You can meet somebody on Tinder and do exactly the same thing. Fuck each other's brains out for a day or two or a couple weeks, and then actually go out somewhere.
So there's this guy I met on, what is it, Bumble. I made it clear, look, fuck me hard, please and thank you, and we can see if you can resume a spot in the Monday through Saturday position.
Real quick, because I'm not on the dating app world or whatever. I know Tinder is really we're trying to fuck. Most of us are just trying to fuck. Bumble, is that more for people who are trying to be in a relationship, or it's kind of the same? And then you can continue. I'm sorry.
Bumble. So what I like about Bumble, woman makes the first move.
That's right. Somebody did tell me that.
So
I wonder how that works with lesbians. Anyway, but
you can dabble and find out.
Okay.
So you make the first move. In terms of relationships, I don't know. I just once again made it very clear I'm trying to have sex, not looking for a relationship right now. Can't handle that right now. That. So he came through and it was great. We went a few rounds. I was like, okay, you held your end of the bargain. Congratulations.
You made it clear.
Yes, I made it very clear. And he was just like, oh, do you do this often? I was like, I did it once before on a different site and it did not work out in my favor. And I didn't do it for months after. So he was like, oh, guys don't take you seriously? I was like, no, they don't. They'll play the whole pen pal, hey, send me pictures, or, oh, we can't go out because of COVID. And I was like, dude, I didn't ask for any of that. I just asked to get fucked. If you can't do that, then go on about your life. So he was like, oh, okay. All right. And we consistently have sex now. I haven't had sex with him recently because he's a professional golfer. Whatever the fuck that means, I don't know. He lives in Florida. He's here now.
But he's up here. I was gonna say, being in Florida, you can golf all the time.
He came up here for tournaments or some shit. I don't get into the whole
golf's not your thing.
I don't. Let me tell you, this man will talk about golf, and I'm just like, oh, all right, you just suck your dick. But like, I just need no. So
my nasty ass will be like, how many golf balls do you think I could fit in my? Take that, fucking like. You want to talk about golf, bro? Bring out the fucking. Invite your caddy. I don't give a shit. Bring out the whole bag. What is it? A golf bag. I don't know. Where you have all the sticks. What are they even called?
No, those are the people that... This is not for us to talk about because we don't know shit.
Be like, you want to talk about golf so much. Talk about it while you're putting all of this golf equipment in my ass. Because I'm not trying to talk to you. I'm trying to get fucked.
No, but he's a really cool guy. But the funny thing is, after... I went out on a date and he was just like, oh, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I went out on a date, had a good time, and we went out that night. He was like, oh, I want to do those things with you. And I was just like, I'm sorry, what?
What things?
Just like, oh, I want to go out on a date with you. I want to go to dinner with you. I want to spend time with you. I was like, oh my God, that's so nice.
This was after one time?
No, this is a few times.
Oh, a few times you hung out.
But I did not know that his intention, I made my intentions clear that I just wanted to have sex. I didn't know he wanted to take me out on a date. I didn't know he wanted to do activities and things of that sort. I'm thinking the same thing. He was like, you're really cool. I really like you. And then I was like, this is the Aquarius thing. I'm really cool. And then they start to like me and I'm like, oh, shit.
It almost makes you want to be a shitty person.
No, and it's like he's a nice guy. I do like him, but there are only two people that I do things with currently, and I rather stick to those two individuals.
2 is enough.
Yeah, yeah. Dick's great. Oh my God, my Lord.
In general or his?
In general.
In general.
So in my phone, he's mushroom.
Oh Lord. Oh don't. Oh honey. The shape. Oh, honey. Oh, God.
It's perfect.
Oh, my God.
I say...
But his name is Mushroom on your phone. You don't even know his real name
no.
I would forget the real name.
I don't give, like, I dated a guy...
you have nicknames all through your contacts?
Light skin with a beard.
Oh, stop.
Crazy.
Stop it.
Who was it?
I have the dentist.
Now I have a Mr. Big. So
the dentist?
Yeah, the dentist was hot. The dentist.
Is he a dentist?
He really is a dentist. I had one that was a doctor.
I'm thinking they're called these things because they can do incredible things with their teeth.
No.
or some weird fetish
So
shit.
If they're fucking crazy, you get crazy. Light skin with a beard, I really don't know his name. I don't fucking know his name. And I accidentally was like, hey, you, I don't remember your name.
Hey, sport.
And he was like, are you serious? I was
You're
like,
trying to fuck tonight.
But, so you coming over or not? No? Yes? It's
waiting. When you come over, just be like, how do you fucking figure out his name? Sometimes.
No, because he caught me when I was drunk dancing on the bar. And it was just the first thing I saw. I was like, oh my God, you're light skinned. You have a beard. And then that was it.
And then you took his number and that's how you saved it. And then you never, okay.
No, he texted me and I was like, who the fuck is this? And he was like,
and then he said the light skin with
the beard. Oh, I caught you when you fell off the bar. I was like, light skin with the beard. That's it. Hey man, what's up? How you doing? How your day going? What you trying to do?
Sometimes if I forget people's names, I'm like, how do you spell your name again? or like even like in my job, like when I'm trying to like identify a person in the building and I'm like, what's your apartment number again? Oh. And they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's right. And then I look it up on my phone and I'm like, oh, that's right, George. That's right, George.
Oh, that's smooth.
And so like, or you'll just be like, yeah, how do you spell your name again? And then they'll spell it. Be like, oh yeah, that's right. That's how I thought it was spelled. Meanwhile,
really
I don't know your fucking name. But for the most part, I do remember people's names. But I think that's adorable that you call everybody that in your book. But going back to that online dating stuff and just the intention and the fact that you were
Very clear.
So clear. But
Very
what I'm
vocal.
thinking in my head, and this is literally the theme of the point of the day, the topic of the day, the whole reason we're talking about this is because sometimes, and I think this is the point, you want to date, but you don't want to date with a purpose. So you're just trying to get fucked, but within that, you're also finding out about these people. Now, scientifically, exactly, scientifically, for females especially, not all individuals, but mainly females, when we have sex with somebody, we immediately, our hormones and our emotions and all the science, the biology,
I have a thing on that,
literally tells you that you need to be with this person. Now, this person has entered your body or has been a part of your body during orgasm, and you release something, some type of connection. That's why everybody gets crazy after they fuck the first time. So when you have these people that don't fuck on the first or second or seventh date, once you have sex with them, you realize who they really are as a person. And so I think that's why a lot of people try to get that shit over with, where it's like, I just want to see if you're good in bed. I just want to have that connection with you. Like sometimes there's a movie, I forget which movie it is. Lisa Kudrow is in it, the one that plays Phoebe in Friends. And somebody's husband dies, and she has these three best friends, and you know she's like grieving over her husband's death for so long. Her husband had cancer, and this whole story about he left her all these letters. He sent her letters or gifts or some bullshit every single day that he's dead for up to a year. So his spirit is still alive, and she's going through this whole mess. And Lisa Kudrow, her character is like best friends to this girl going through this train wreck of a mess, and she's dating freely, and she's in her 30s or whatever, and she's not married, doesn't have any kids, and she's going off and dating. And I remember the awesome thing she does throughout the movie is she goes up to a guy at a bar and says, "Hey, are you straight? Yes or no?" Her questions are you straight? Yes or no? And the first time the guy says, "No, I'm not straight, I'm gay." And so she moves on. And then later on in the movie, she meets another guy at a bar. "Hey, are you straight?" "Yeah, I'm straight." "Are you single?" "Oh, no, I'm married." "Okay, fuck you." All right. Okay. And then like, you know, a few minutes later in the movie, it comes back. "Hey, are you straight?" "Yeah, I'm straight." "Are you single?" "Yeah, I'm single." And then she would just kiss him. Just kiss the man. Just kiss pre-COVID. Kiss a fucking stranger on the mouth and makes out with him. And literally went, moving on. And I thought that was so powerful because the fourth time at the very end of the movie, "Are you straight?" "Yes." "Are you single?" "Yes." Kissed him, felt something, dated the motherfucker, married the motherfucker, I think.
That's great.
The point of the story is sometimes you just got to get that shit out of the way. Just make sure that you literally have, not that you have to go fuck somebody when you first want to date them, but have some type of intimate romantic connection. When you kiss somebody, and I've been through this, where I'm like, I don't know if I love that person. When you kiss somebody, when you make love, not just having sex. If you're meeting somebody for the first time and you're having sex and it feels like you're making love, holy shit, date that person. If you kiss somebody and all the thoughts go out of your brain, definitely you should be with that person. I think that once that's established, then it's easier for a person to move on in that relationship, because you've already skipped over potentially 3 to 6 months of that. Because traditionally, if you just didn't fuck on the first date and you just dated, I had a guy, in 2013, the Russian, I call him the Russian that I dated, right? Yeah. So the Russian insisted on taking me out on dates. I lived in New Jersey. He lived in Philadelphia. And he would come from Philly to pick me up in New Jersey, to take me back to Philly for a fucking dinner and drop me off in New Jersey with no dick. And I'd be like, bruh, you brought me dinner. I got to give you the dick. That's the rules. That's the rules. And he just was not having it. And I'm like, what type of fucking motherfucker
are you
is
okay?
this? Are you okay? Is something wrong with your dick? Is something wrong with you? Are you just dating me to make mama happy? I'm very confused. I was very confused.
You straight?
Nobody had ever done that to me before. 1,000% straight. Later on, we developed our relationship. I moved in with him. I almost became stepmom, right? This whole fucking thing.
Him, okay.
But it was like he met me at a bar. He met me. He thought the world of me. He asked me for my number. He texted me. We had a little bit of a text, and this was before Tinder was really a thing. Texted me back and forth. I ended up going to Israel for the first time. Had my accident. I was away for 2 months. That's a whole fucking thing. I was in Israel for 2 months. I come back, and I come back to my American phone, and it's like all these messages from this dude, and then that's when he's like, hey, oh my God, for like 2 months, I've been trying to get in touch with you. I knew you were away on vacation for like 3 or 4 weeks. I thought you'd be back by now. And like, here you are. And so like, I think the final text that he texted me was like, okay, I see you're not interested. I'll just leave you alone now. And I remember going back to it and being like, oh, no. I just got back. I just got back from fucking Israel. Like, I had this whole thing happen to me, and I got back like 4 weeks too late. And so he was like, okay, well, I'd like to take you out on a date. And I was like, okay. I expected him to just pick me up, go get Taco Bell and fucking in the parking lot, because that's the type of date I at least I used to be. I'm a lady now. I'm a class ass now. This was back in 2013 where fucking a whole nother. I mean, I had left my husband a year before, so I was just ready to just rock into it. But I remember feeling like he wants to take me out on a date. At that time, my idea of dating was not what we were doing. And so the first, I don't know, handful of times that he took me out like that, I'm like, yo, this motherfucker really is just driving back and forth and not getting pussy. All that money for the food and the drinks that we go out to, the gas, and like his time. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. And I felt bad. I'm like, I don't use people. I don't do that. But like, I felt like I was using him, even though all this was his decision. Did I grab his dick while he was driving? And no, but because I felt some type of respect, you know, reciprocity, that word, that the wine, that word, the wine got to me. Reciprocation. Yes. Use it in a sentence. Spelling bee. Reciprocation. I'll get there. But nonetheless, I expected something in exchange, and that was foul of me, because he's European. It was older than me by like 8 years. And I guess I just was like, you know what? I am worth more. I am worth more than just getting bangs in a Taco Bell parking lot. Not that I do that often. Not that that's a thing. I'm joking. Than this. But like, I really expected dating to not be like, oh, let's you pick me up and you shut my door. And I just wasn't used to that. And not that I wasn't raised properly. I knew that was a thing that should have been. I always was like, I'm such an independent woman.
Yes. Okay.
I will open the door for you. I will close the door for you.
I will walk on the side of the what is it? What do they do?
The inside of the street. I will get hit by a car for you, motherfucker, not the other way around. Yes. Facts. So that literally changed my brain to think that when I go out with a man, I should not let him be what's that word, begins with a C? Chivalrous. Yeah. Okay. Man. And be a gentleman. And it was almost like I expected people to try to be a gentleman, but I wasn't going to take it. No. Like I didn't deserve to have that respect.
No, I understand.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Because I'm like, I just want to have control over this.
Thank you.
I will pay for the meal or half.
I'll go. I'll pay myself. I'll drive myself. Don't worry, I got this.
Exactly. I'll drive myself. I don't need you to pick me. I don't need you to lift a finger for me. I'm an independent woman. And that is that is independent for sure. But that is the problem with I think a lot of my type of women dating, and versus the type of women who are not, I don't want to say submissive or, you know, too ladylike or anything like that, but the girls that are like, you know what? If this guy really does like me, he will take me out on a nice, you know, steak dinner, and he will open the door for me and give me flowers, because that is what a real man should do. Yep. And then I will suck his dick clean, and or maybe not, or maybe he has to keep continuing to do this until we're engaged, and then I'll suck his dick clean, or maybe until marriage, and then I'll just, you know, fuck it, I'll just do anal, fuck it. But there's a whole line of women out there who have a different process of dating and dating for marriage or lack of marriage. I mean, there are women out there who are virgins, who know that they don't want to get married and have kids, who just want to go out there and date and will suck all the dick and do all the anal, but not let anybody penetrate her vaginally because that's something sacred to her. And, you know, eventually when she meets the right guy, then yeah, she's going to settle down and do it vaginally. There are literally women out there who will just do it all except that one coveted thing to them because they can control that. Wherein there's me, who I've just always, you know, grew up as a kid like, hey, I want to get married. This is what I should be doing. I got married. I didn't want to have a kid with him. Didn't. Thank God. I would still be dealing with that motherfucker 10 years later. And just knowing that I can go back out there and just live my life.
And that was all
so yeah. So to get into a little bit more of that, oh yeah, I'm DTF, I'm down to fuck, right? And we're on this dating app and you're very clear with your intentions. And I've been in relationships in the past where I've been very clear with my intentions, and people just may change the way that they view that relationship over time based on how they feel about you. And that is exactly the point of this, is that you get into dating the way that you want to. You do the YOLO thing, you fuck the shit out of a bunch of people, and then you actually are like, you know what, I kind of want to have you around. You bring somebody over just for sex, and then you finish fucking, and it's like, put on your shoes and go home. But they want to hang out and watch Netflix. You want to Netflix and chill after we fuck? That's not the way that this is going. And then you start to be like, oh, fuck, this motherfucker's catching feelings. Oh, no. Like the one kid I told you who was like, hey, do you have any hummus? Because the one time he came over, I was like, hi, and we had just got done having like vigorous, like very athletic sex, and I was starving. So I brought out my pita chips and hummus, and then the next time we finished having sex, it's like the you know, like a whole complex. The next time we finished having sex, and he's like, ding, a bell goes off, like, ding, oh, it's time for hummus.
It's time to eat. It's time refuel.
I was like, motherfucker, no.
Go home,
no, I don't
Roger.
have any hummus. And I wanted to be like, he better not fucking stand up and check my fridge. Because if he's like, hey, do you mind if I grab a water? And he looks in my fridge and he sees my hummus and he's like, bitch, you lied to me about your hummus. I'm going to be fucking flipping out because I just want him to leave. You gave me the dick, now leave.
It was like the massage guy.
And I just, and I'm like, no, I'm not giving you my hummus. I worked hard for that hummus, and I'm not going to just give it up to you. No. I let you shower in my bathroom before and after. And I let you eat my hummus last time. I gave you a half of my joint. You gave me your semen. Thanks for the protein. Get on your fucking way. No. It was a few times I was with this motherfucker, and every single time it got increasingly. Now, again, like I said to you before, this motherfucker's young, and not embarrassingly young. I'm not a pervert. In his 20s, but he's young as fuck. He's of age for sure, above 21, but very young. And I didn't think that he wanted marriage and children, right? I found him randomly, and I didn't think he was expecting anything out of this. I thought he was just trying to get his dick wet like everybody fucking else in the clit wet and everything. And so it turned into, hey, do you have any hummus? And I was like, no. And then the next time I hid my hummus. And just in case, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta go grocery shopping. I wish I had hummus for you. I literally fucking said that. And then that same night, he was like, oh, have you ever seen the TV show The Boys? And I was like, no. He's like, I'm on like the 7th episode. It's so good. You wanna watch it with me? Turns on like the middle of the 7th episode. It's like, I think I was 13 minutes in, and goes in, and I'm just like, and I literally, like, I sat there on the couch, and like 4 minutes later, I just went, like I fell asleep, and I just knocked over my head, and he kind of just like let me like kind of sleep for a few minutes, and then I just kind of like put my arm down.
Dude, that's a sign.
And then I kind of put my leg up like I'm trying to fucking go to sleep, and he just wasn't getting the fuck out. And I just remember being like, oh my God, if you just don't fucking leave. I was so clear with what I had to say, and that's the thing. But he caught feelings, and still to this motherfucking day, even though I dropped him months ago, still to this day, he's really trying, and I make all the excuses in the book. And I literally last time, which was I think yesterday morning, I was like, honey, you're so cute. We had fun. honestly, please respect the fact that I don't want to do this again with you. Like, I just don't.
Uh-huh.
If that changes in the future, and this is a great point, I said to him, if my feelings change in the future, I will fucking let you know, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I stop whatever I'm doing
Got
with
your
my
resume.
guy, you know, like if I'm bored, if I'm stupidly drunk one day and I'm single and bored and I give a shit
Mm-hmm.
and I really crave that in the moment, of course I'll hit you up. You'll be here in 17 minutes like normal and you'll fucking be ready. And I hope you have a whole bag of your own condoms because you need them, motherfucker. But nonetheless, the point is that changing your feelings, you need to communicate that with that person. After my marriage, the next 3 serious relationships I had should not have become that serious. Unfortunately, I lived with all of them at some point, and I think that is what changed their minds. Not changed their minds, but thinking that I changed my mind with how I felt, where I was very clear in the beginning, I don't want marriage and kids. I don't want marriage and kids. I don't want marriage and kids. With every single one of these motherfuckers. Even when I got married, I said, listen, I don't want to have kids for at least 5 years. I'm 22 years old. I'm not trying to do that. I'm still in college. We need to establish a really good, healthy marriage, and then I want to have children with you. Thank fucking God I made that decision, because so many people, mind you, gave me shit about getting married at 22, pressured me into having a kid by 23, 24. Literally criticized and judged me for having a young marriage, but then was like, where's the baby after a year? And so I was like, no, nobody's going to pressure me into you might as well do it while you're young because you don't want to be too old with kids. I was like, yeah, but I don't even really know in my life right now if I even fucking want that. And the fact that I was married and I didn't want kids with my husband and I didn't want kids in general, I knew that was a fucking problem. So I just didn't want kids. And every single relationship after that, for the past 12 years, I've been in relationships, but after my marriage, which was 8 years now, it's been 8 total years. I've had 3 relationships, every single one of them, very clear. Don't want to get married. Don't want to have kids. Oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah. The first one already had a kid. The second one, whatever, they all went through their shit. They were on the same page with me. And then a year went by and then they're just like, okay, well, we've been together a year. So now what? Let's start to think about moving in with each other. Yes, I would like to be kind of independent and move out of my parents' house. I've kind of been back and forth from my parents' house. And, within that, I was living with them because I just want to live on my own, but I can't support myself. So let me just try to do it with a roommate, right? In my brain, right? It's more roommate, not, hey, this is the level that we're taking to get closer to marriage and kids. It was like, hey, I want to get the fuck out of my parents' house. You want to get the fuck out of your parents' house.
Let's do this shit
easier
together.
For us to just split everything half and half. Yeah. Let's shower together to save water and all that good shit. The Jew says. So I literally was not, and I would remind them often, oh, that baby's so cute. Wish I wanted to have a baby one day. I'd get those pants from Gap, but I don't want to have a kid, so I don't need to even fucking go to Gap. And I would say dumb shit like that so that they would be reminded that I still do not want marriage and children. When we would break up, what's the first topic? We could have been, I was looking at rings. I wanted to be a good. Where did you see me drop the communication, confuse you, say something that I didn't mean? It was always straightforward. But after a year, after 2 years, people get into that, okay, well, we're still here, so where else are we going to go but up? We're going to go this way, honey. We're going to drop off the face of the fucking earth. Because now we've exhausted everything that we've wanted to do together as a couple, right? And I think that's why I haven't reached 3 years with somebody, because around that 2-year mark, it's like, if you don't want to get married or have kids, what is even the point? I think we discussed the other day, people who are in 8-year-long, 10-year-long,
I don't know,
15-year-long relationships,
the fuck
and they never get married.
People do this. Like me, as an example, I hate to bring this up, but I was in a relationship for 3 or 4 years, lived together, and every year I would get a fucking birthday card, and it would say something along the lines of going in that direction, and never got into that direction. Now we're done, and he says, I thought we were just gonna live together and just not get married. I was like, wait, what?
But that was never discussed with you.
I made it very clear, if we're gonna live together, shack up, we need to get married, because I don't shack up. I did something similar, and I literally snapped and threw his shit outside on the street corner. Like, don't let me do this, and there's going to be us doing this over and over and over again. No, we're gonna get married, this and this and that. Never happened. So that was a waste of my time.
Exactly.
And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's why I say I will never move in with a boyfriend or a fiance. I will live with my husband, because I already know we're together. If you want to divorce me, that's fine, but we were together. That's it. I can't live with a boyfriend or a fiance.
And I think that's a really, really strong point, especially since you've gone through that. And me as well. We've been in relationships and engagements and marriages, you know.
Oh, I called off so many engagements. I can't.
And living with somebody is imperative in order to be with them for the rest of their life. I think it's really, really important. Once you've done that with other people, you kind of get the drift, right?
Yeah.
The last guy I dated, like, officially we were supposed to move in together. He lived with me and my father for a short while before we made that move. And I literally was like, oh my fucking God, I cannot do this. Not only can I live with you, I can't even do this relationship because you're driving me fucking crazy. And he's always been a pain in the ass, but he's been lovely for the most part. But I just knew that I couldn't live with him because I knew that it would not end well. And I knew that I didn't want to marry or have kids with him. So what was the fucking point? Here I am living a very much better life, much better life. And I figured that out on my own. But at that time, I remember being like, the only way that I can move out of my parents' house, yet again, there was like the third or fourth time I moved out of my parents' house, is to do this. Again, a roommate. He thought it was not that way. But when you, like we've been, very straightforward, very clear, and then having that time wasted is embarrassing for everybody. And to break up and then say your piece, you know, after you break up for closure, then you tell the person what's wrong. Then you tell, because
how does that solve the fucking problem?
It doesn't.
Like
communication.
Yeah.
And so if you're not, and people get nervous to communicate that. So, they don't want to freak you out.
So I met a guy this is the dentist. I met a guy a few years ago.
Sexy teeth.
Oh my God. He was everything. And I met him on Tinder. We spoke for texting back and forth because he lived in, what is it? Red Bank, New Jersey. And I lived on Long Island.
Holy shit.
So we met each other on Tinder and we spoke for months. Didn't meet up. He would actually ask me to come out to Red Bank, and and stupidly I was like, no. So we finally, his brother bought a house that wasn't too far from where I live, like the next town over. And we finally met up. We fucked like there was no one's business. And he's made it clear, I am looking for casual sex. I'm not looking for a relationship. Cool, no problem. We spoke every fucking day. Time goes on. He's coming by. I still haven't gone to his apartment. He was like, I'm moving. I was like, where are you going? He's like, Jersey City. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I think the last time, the second to last, okay, maybe the fifth to last time we got together, I said to him, I rolled over and I was just like, so I think I want more from you.
Good.
He says, thank you. Thank you.
That's like,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a compliment.
Thank you. So I was just like,
oh, I know my dick is that good. Thank you.
I said, okay, fine. So I ended up dating someone else, and I told him, hey, I said to him prior, I said, at a certain point, we're going to have to stop doing what we're doing because someone is going to catch feelings and we're going to part. He said, okay, yeah, you just let me know when that happens. I think it was probably like 2 months later. I was just like, so we have to stop what we're doing. And he's like, what? What do you mean? I was like, so I'm going into a relationship with someone. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, well, I expressed to you.
I'm sorry, you told him. You didn't ghost him like every other fucking person would.
I expressed to you at a certain point someone is going to catch feelings. Me. I expressed to you how I felt. You said thank you. His response was, oh my God, I did want that. I do want that. I want to be with you. But I was being a puss. No, we were still talking and everything at that point. We were still having sex. We were still talking. I understood that he didn't want more, but I also understood I wanted more. If it wasn't going to come from him, then it's going to come from the other person that I'm dating. He was like, I wanted more. I was being a pussy about it. I'll never fucking forget the text message. I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? I expressed to you how I felt, and now you're telling me you want to be with me, but yet I just committed to someone else, and I fucking see a future with you. Point. And you waited. He was just like, yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to solve this. I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? I think it was a few months later. At this time, we're talking, but not as frequent. And he's saying, well, I had my surgery, and he goes, I said, he knew that I was going to have surgery. He says, oh, I wish I can be there to take care of you, but he is. And
ooh, honey.
He was just like, I want to take care of you, but I know he is. And I was just like,
you missed the boat, brother.
I was just like, you could have been, but you weren't honest with your feelings. And he was like, yeah, I regret that. And then he gave me an ultimatum. He was just like, so I'm going to Costa Rica. You need to come with me. I bought your ticket. If you're at the airport, great. If you're not at the airport, I already know. My fucking dumb ass. Oh my God. I feel so fucking stupid. I would have went to Costa Rica and been fucking in a forest somewhere. And I would have loved it.
But that's not the point. The point was too late.
But I would have broken up with the guy that I was with. Because he had a fucking idea. 3 to 4 year relationship that went nowhere. And I was like, what the fuck?
So the guy that you ended up dating during this dentist thing was the person that you were with for 3 to 4 years who said, oh, I never wanted it, blah, 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 and wasted your fucking time.
There you go.
So the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, don't be a pussy with your emotions or you're going to make somebody ruin 4 years of their life.
Bruh.
But honestly,
and that all started with us having casual sex.
But also, Mo, you've spent months talking on an online dating site before you even met up. Yep. That already tells me that this motherfucker is so confused with his intentions and his wants and needs that he, of course, is only on, that's the thing, you're on Tinder, you're on Bumble, you're on these places for this reason. However, when you make a connection with somebody and you change your fucking mind about the course you want that relationship to be with that person, you need to fucking say it.
Say it!
And I'm sorry that women are very emotional and sometimes we can be over emotional or over communicate.
Yes.
Most people can't communicate for shit. And I always say the number one, if not the only important thing in a relationship is communication. Yep. Because once you don't have any of that, nobody has a fucking clue. If you're bad at communication, everyone's just confused. And if you just do the opposite of what you think and feel, then that's just hurting people. So you need to say that immediately because you never want one of these like movie or TV show things to happen like Friends, where they're at the airport and it's dramatic and it's like, oh, oh, meet me at gate 3B if you want to come to Costa Rica with me. If not, I know that you've chosen him, and you chose him, and you wasted 4 years of your life because this dumb motherfucker wanted to have casual sex, but had a non-sexual relationship with you for months, had a sexual relationship, realized he wanted more with you, was trying to go with his initial word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I said I just wanted casual sex, so I just need to go forth with what I said. Because I don't want to admit to having feelings because then I sound like a pussy. You're
a pussy that didn't tell me your feelings.
And now, what if is the question you had? What if he communicated those feelings to me before I had developed this relationship with somebody else? Good on you for saying, hey, honey, sorry, love what we had. It was great. You don't want anything serious, so therefore I'm going to be with somebody who does. Good riddance. And then he says, oh, I'm so shocked and appalled that you're telling me this. He shouldn't be appalled. He should be shocked because you're using communication instead of ghosting him. And you're giving him a clear answer, which is very difficult for people to do because, let's be real.
It's easier.
It's 2020. There's cyberbullying. Everybody's a pussy. Everybody, not everybody. I can't say that I'm sarcastic, reminding everybody. Not everybody is this way, but most people are so, it's not that they're bad at communication. It's that socially, we've been turned into saying what we feel or saying something that the other person doesn't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Or will make them upset. You have a panic attack over telling somebody negative information because you don't want them to think less of you. Unfortunately, you have to go there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I tell people beautiful things and I'm nervous. Sometimes I tell people terrible things and I'm nervous. Mm-hmm. It's the emotion that goes behind it. If I care a lot about somebody and if I think that they care, what I do that I hate that I do, but I also love that I do, is that I tell other people their feelings because they're pussies. And I'm just like, listen, bitch, I know a lot about people and the brain and the heart and the blah, 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 and the psychology. You're really into me. You're not admitting that, or you're not into me that much and you're just stringing me along because you feel bad.
Like I used to crack jokes with him. I know you like me more than you saying. He'll do whatever,
actions, right? Actions.
Whatever. But exactly, it was how he was treating me. It was how he talks to me. It's how we send little pictures here and there. It's telling me something that what you said prior, it's casual sex. It's not turning into that. But he didn't want to admit to what was going on until I said, "Hey, you got to end this."
And this is why a lot of women and men, mostly women, play games, which I hate to call games, are kind of like tests or experiments or little things to kind of get that person to admit or to at least admit to themselves or be, communicative with their emotions and say, hey, what if you were bluffing? What if you just said, oh, like in my job with selling apartments, with renting apartments, it's like, if somebody else is interested in this apartment, so hurry up and apply right away. I don't do that, but that's a tactic. And so it's like, if you don't want to be serious with me, I'm just going to go be serious with somebody else. And I'm letting you know, we need to cut this off completely because you will have none of me because you don't want me. So you have none of me. You can't have it both ways.
People use those tactics all the time.
All
Females.
the fucking time.
Oh, especially. Men do it. But it's different
It is different. So in this case, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to let this woman slip away from me because I initially wanted casual sex and now I have strong feelings for her, but I don't want to go there because it's going against my very strong convictions that I put in my bio on Tinder or whatever. And so it's like, or Bumble or whatever. And so it's like, well, then you should have fucking told me. So, oh well, too late, motherfucker. This good pussy has gone. And you lose. And now I'm going to be with somebody else. And, without having that side story of, hey, that didn't happen so well for you. The fact of the matter is that he didn't communicate as well as you did. You did an excellent job at communicating. You did everything that you could do in that aspect to make sure that everybody was on the same page and that you got what you wanted and that he got what he wanted because you weren't pressuring him into being in a relationship. You respected what he said and that's why you moved on.
Not at all.
And that is big and that is brave.
I think females, if you have your intentions set out initially and you downgrade it and say, as he said, a casual sex, but you want a relationship, say it immediately. Do not drag it on and just get fucked. And then what happens is emotions get involved. And then you're like, oh shit, I really like you. And this. No. Be very straightforward with what you're looking for, especially if you're looking for short term. If you're not saying, okay,
say that.
Even in my
my
profiles now, I'll say, look, I am interested in having sex. Also, if it turns into something else, I'm open to it as well. Not gonna just jump into a relationship, but if it leads into that direction, it leads into that direction. But granted, I still want dick. Just letting you know, I still want a dick. So just letting that.
And I think that's
they need to be honest with themselves.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, there's one way where it's like you just want to have sex and nothing at all. And then there's that other way where, yeah, you want to have sex, but you also want relationships and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then there's that, hey, I don't give a shit about sex. I'm just looking for marriage. Mm-hmm. It's not that cut and dry. No. It's not choose A, B, or C. Mm-hmm. It's, hey, any of these fucking things can happen. Mm-hmm. But right now, in this moment, without having anybody involved to alter my decisions, this is what I want and need. Mm-hmm. When I broke up with my last ex, October of last year, which was like, 14 months now almost, at that time, I broke out of that relationship, and as soon as we broke up, he was like, you could have been the one. We were going to move in together. I thought that you wanted us to move. And I'm like, no, don't think, don't assume, blah, blah, blah. And after I left him, I just was like, I don't want a relationship. I want to be single for as long as possible. Mm-hmm. I had not been single that long for like 12 years. I went through 12 years
insane to me.
Of just like, basically kind of jumping from relationship to relationship with maybe a month or two buffer in between, barely. And I've been single for over a year now, essentially. And so I gave myself a lot of that time. But initially, after I broke up with him, and I was like, I just want to do the single thing. If anything, I just want to hook up with females. I'm tired of this fucking dick game. I'm tired of everybody trying to marry me and put a baby in me. I'm tired. I don't want any of it. I'm just trying to get fucked and eat tacos and masturbate and watch The Office and go to work and sleep. Let me live. This is all I want in my life. But I was very strong with the conviction that I didn't want to get married and I didn't want to have kids. Now, that was in October of 2019. Mm-hmm. For Hanukkah, I went to Israel in December of 2019. Okay. 2 months after my breakup, I walked in to Israel, right? I walked in and I was like, I'm here. And nobody tried to marry me because every time I'm there, my friends sometimes are like, maybe you'll find a husband in Israel. Every time I go, you think you'll find a husband in Israel? And then they'll try to not pawn off, but I'm like, hey, I'm trying to fuck, right? You know, and sometimes I'm just like, hey, you have a friend, fuck me, you know? I'm here. It's not like that, but it's like, hey, I mean, like my travel agency. My whole needs help. Is my whole needs feeling. That can find me a hostel and someday. There you go. You know, no, it wasn't really like that, but it was more like, hey, I'm on vacation. You know, I'm trying to do the damn thing and hang out. But the last time I went, everybody was shacked up. Everybody was married. Everybody was starting to have kids. Everybody in my age group was like, you know, I couldn't just be like, hey, man, like, remember you can't your friend that like was at your wedding? Like, how's he doing? He's married. He's married. This one's married. You know, and it's like, oh fuck. And I didn't go there for that, but it was just like, yeah, let me have fun.
I'm on vacation.
But at the same time, other people were like, oh, Sasha, so since everybody here in Israel in your age group is married and has at least one kid for the most part, what the fuck is going on with you? And I'm like, I don't want to get married and I don't want to have kids. Oh. And they just like slammed down the door and they were like, how dare you? What? Like, this is a part of life. This is the circle of life. This is why we're here. You have to procreate. You have to make more Jews, more beautiful brown Jews. And I'm just like, no. And the same people were bringing it up. And a lot of people were making me feel very uncomfortable with the conversation, which I have, by the way, with everybody. Mm-hmm. And so it turned into, okay, let me alter the way that I say this because they're right. Most people will say, until you meet that person, you will continue to feel this way until you meet that person to an extent.
Yes.
Now, I've met some beautiful people in my life. I have been in love. I thought I was in love with more people than I was. Definitely fucking not. Now at 33, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I don't think I loved damn near almost anybody. But falling in love with somebody and wanting to spend the rest of your life with them is not the same feeling as wanting to be married and have children and have that standard traditional family.
True.
I can easily, and people do this all the fucking time, easily have a relationship with somebody that's more of like a partnership. We never live together. We are essentially boyfriend and girlfriend for the rest of our lives. No pressure into having a marriage, no pressure into living with each other, no pressure into even having kids, just doing it. Now, I do have friends, I have seen people who, again, will be in a relationship for 8 years or an engagement for like 5 years. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? You're just bored. You just haven't. And then they break up, and then immediately whoever they start dating next, they marry them in less than a year.
Kids. I've seen this.
And they have kids right the fucking way. And that just speaks volumes to that comfortability that happens once you surpass the 2-3 years and you're not getting married and having kids, because either one of you doesn't want it, right? Typically, one of you doesn't want it, and that's why you're not doing it, but you love each other and you stay together. Or that was the intention the entire time. You just didn't tell anybody. I never said, everybody's just waiting for you to get married. And you're like, joke's on you. We're never going to get married. We never even going to live together. We're just going to be together for the rest of our lives. And if we ever want to get married, then we'll fucking do it. If I meet somebody that makes me change my mind, then absolutely I'll marry that nigga tomorrow. I don't care. But I have met 1 or 2 people in my life that I felt very strongly, like literally said to myself, 3 people, literally said to myself, if I wanted to get married and have kids, it would definitely be with him.
I had that experience.
But I don't, so I won't. And oh well. Growing up and learning more about myself and learning more about what I do and do not like with people, blah, blah, like that all happened in my mid to late 20s. Now, it's been about 10 years that I've been kind of, understanding with who I want in my life. I'm not going to meet the perfect person, but I still know that if I do meet somebody that alters my idea of what I want for the rest of my life, then sure as hell that person is very special. Now, do I bring that up to him or her, right? Do I have that conversation with him or her, especially knowing that they are 100% on the same page with me? Because the last 3 relationships I had after my marriage, they've all been like, yeah, I want marriage and kids, maybe right not now, maybe not right now. And then they have this, and then I'm like, well, I definitely don't want to have marriage or kids. And then they have this relationship with me that surpasses 2 years. And they're like, okay, well, remember when we both were kind of on the same page in the beginning, and now I'm kind of changing my mind because you're awesome and I want to do this with you. And I'm like, yeah, you're awesome too, but we should break up because this is not what I want. And then we fucking break up, and then I move on with somebody else. It's not going to kill me. This was a beautiful relationship that we had. That's a point that I also have. Dating short term. Yeah. And literally saying, hey, in about 2 years, I'm going to get bored of you and this is going to end. So let's just enjoy it in the moment.
Now, with dating with a purpose, now I was thinking about that just a minute. With the short term, I feel that if you're dating with a purpose, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to date with the purpose of getting married and having kids. In the short term dating, I feel as though you need to know what you like. So if you're dating short term and just wanting to hook up, you get to know your body and who you like and what dick and what position and things of that sort. So if you're dating in a short term, I feel as though you're not only just having the goal of having sex. I feel as though you're getting to know your body and connecting it with whomever you're with, or just connecting it with yourself. So, okay, I don't like doing that with this person, or I don't like dating this type of person, or I don't like getting eaten out, or I don't like getting fucked in ass or oral. You get to know these type of things. What I've noticed is and I'm saying used to because Mr. Big is not circumcised. Mr. Big. And in my whole life, I've only been with 3 guys that, yes. So my first boyfriend was not circumcised.
Your first boyfriend ever? Yes. My high school sweetheart was not circumcised.
Bruh, that was an experience.
You're young and you're like, what? You have to learn about the dick, and then you have to learn about this extra part of the dick.
What is this? This is not what they show us in fucking class. What the fuck is this?
When you practice putting the condom on the banana, they never peel the banana, and they're like, you may have to put a condom on a banana peel.
Like the fuck? So then I dated another guy with an uncircumcised penis, and I was just
which, by the way, listeners, your penis is beautiful no matter what it looks like. Continue.
Very true. Very true. So I was just like, okay, this is different. I don't know how to do this shit. So next, now Mr. Big, he's teaching me how to deal with his penis, which none of them have. Well, the first one, he was my first boyfriend. So he's 17. Like, he didn't know what the fuck he was doing anyway.
Mr. Big was within the past few years.
Yeah.
So as a grown adult. Yeah.
He taught me how to deal with it.
Thank you, Mr. Big.
The others did not teach me.
They probably didn't.
They probably didn't. Like 17, you're just figuring out how to fucking, oh shit, this shit's coming out my dick. It could produce children. So like, another one, different story, but like Mr. Big taught me how to fucking deal with the shit. I didn't know how to fucking suck a dick that was, let's just like, sir, how, what?
Well, the tricky thing with, and we can have a whole fucking episode on uncircumcised penises. I can go on, but the trick is, look, Ma, no hands. You can't really do that with uncircumcised penises because you have
gotta
to
peel
hold
things back,
so it's uncomfortable. But
and
anyway,
I learned that with dating with no fucking purpose and just fucking, like, I didn't.
You do learn a lot. You learn a lot sexually. I've always been a nymph, but I never really knew what the fuck to do with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I got into, and mind you, like I jumped from relationship to relationship, and those like couple of weeks in between, I kind of like hook up with somebody that I already know, that I already hooked up with, you know, my high school sweetheart. And so, and just like you go through these moments with people, you see a lot of different dicks, you know, not saying that it like we're sluts or anything. No. We just like go through men like whores, but no, like we're in our early 30s. We have not been in relationships so incredibly long where I haven't surpassed 3 years with anybody. So it's like, yeah, all of my relationships are short-lived. Most of my relationships are short-lived. Mm-hmm. I lost my virginity in my late teens. A lot of people lost their virginity in the early to mid-teens. Mm-hmm. And so it's not like I've been having sex for so long that I've been having all of this exposure. But I'm very open and I'm very honest and I'm very confident in my sexual activity. Mm-hmm. And I was always very feministic when it came to, hey, why are guys allowed to put the notches on their belt, but I can't do the same on my bra, right? And it's like, I want to be able to go out into the world and talk about all of the sex that I'm having. And the point of this podcast is not to be like, hey, I've had so much sex that I could just talk about this and be a professional, but I've had so much sex that I want to talk about this because I have experience
with the world.
Yes, bitch, yes. And that's why I'm so glad you're here, because we're very similar. Now, we both obviously, I mean, most people want a long-term relationship with somebody that they can love and trust and possibly have a family with. Yes, I get that. Maybe it's possible that will happen to me in my fucking 70s when I have the time. But right now, that's just not on my radar. It was on my radar for so long to get married and have kids. I got married and I didn't want kids. And then I got a divorce and I didn't want to get married again. I don't want to get married again. If I meet somebody incredible that makes me change my mind,
that
that's a different conversation.
A magic motherfucker to do that shit.
But I also don't want to be so picky wherein I'm never going to find that person as a haha to the world and be like, what am I going to do? Like when I meet the love of my life or my soulmate or I have known that's the other thing. Knowing my soulmate this entire time.
I know.
And not realizing that, oh shit, my soulmate is literally my life right now. But having that idea like, oh, well, if I go back on my conviction, like idiot, right? Dentist who was just like, oh, well, now I'm contradicting myself, or I seem like a hypocrite because now I'm going to go, oh, I have a good point. Now I'm going to go on Facebook and be like, oh, hey, I actually met the love of my life. I'm going to get married again. And by the way, we have a bun in the oven, right? And people are going to be like, Sasha, what? The bitch who was like team no kids hashtag on everything, team no marriage hashtag on everything. Bitch, you just came out on Facebook and said you're getting married and you have a bun in the oven and you met your soulmate.
That's some shit I would do.
At 67 years old, I'm gonna do that shit, or whatever social media robot thing there's out there. But honestly, it's like, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, no, it is.
But I'm not looking for that.
It happens. It doesn't. It doesn't. I'm not
pressure.
I'm not gonna actively search for the shit. It happens,
and that's when it comes to.
And there are women that fucking look for it, and I'm just like, you're doing too much.
And they pull their hair out and then they hit 30 and they're just like,
I have like
my
15
biological,
cats.
remember my cousin Vinny? My biological clock is ticking like this.
The fuck?
I ain't never getting
Relax.
married at the rate of my life. I ain't never getting married. With COVID, I ain't never getting married.
Like, relax.
Germs, Tinder's a hot mess.
Relax.
Everyone's on TikTok, not giving me dick. I don't even want to be married. My husband's just gonna be on TikTok and joking with his gray sweatpants, making jokes.
I'm just
Putting
gonna.
cucumbers in his gray sweatpants. Like, look at how big my dick is. Your dick is not big. That's why I married you, because we never had sex until we got married. I ain't never gonna be like.
I'm just gonna marry my dildo and just call it a day. That's it.
I'm sure that's legal in at least 4 states.
Someone married something.
A tree.
What was it? A tree?
A dog. Bitch. Like.
Oh no, she married herself.
Oh, honey.
I think that was some bullshit.
But listen, if we could, we would, but we
Yeah.
don't because it's not normal. But but I'm glad that like we were able to talk about a lot of great points, a lot of really great points where the moral of the story is don't date for marriage, date for yourself. Figure out what the fuck being single.
Nothing's wrong with it.
Nothing's
wrong with it.
Yes, everybody, you're
Make
fine.
that disclaimer.
Yes.
Like nothing's wrong with
Absolutely
it.
not.
It just doesn't work for us.
This is a topic where if you're married already or if you want to get married, it's like probably really uncomfortable for you're probably screaming, no, not me.
You're wrong.
Not me. Not this girl. Not my community of people who feel this way. No, I'm not talking to the audience that I want to listen to right now, people just like us who are just like fucking over it. And like right now in both of our lives, I think that we've been through the engagement marriage realm early in our lives and we've wasted so much fucking time with people, and I think that now we're accepting that we know who we are, we know what we want, we know what we don't want, and things can change.
Sure.
And communicating is fucking key. And don't be a pussy with your emotions.
Please don't.
Just, and nobody's telling you that you can't change my mind. What's beautiful right now in the world, especially with the diversity of fights and the challenges with Black Lives Matter and everything, is that there are white people that are changing the way that they think and their opinions. You can do the same thing with sexual activity and dating and relationships.
Yes.
It is well okay for you to spend the majority of your life or your adult, like for me, like just like saying, hey, this is who I am and this is what I believe in. And if you change your mind because your opinions change, because you grow or you learn things about yourself, you develop differently, then admit that. Nobody's going to fault you for being true to yourself.
We're not gonna hang you, okay? We're not gonna kill you. You're
There's
okay.
some people I want to hang with the fucking shit that they say. But nonetheless, when it comes to sex and dating, just like with the Me Too movement, confirm consent before anything. Even marriage, even engagements. The worst thing is when you propose to somebody who's like, I thought we talked about this. I don't want to get married. But like being honest, communicating and making sure that there's nothing wrong with anything that you do or say to people. If they have a problem with it, they will not be in your life. If they want to come back, whatever, you can make that decision. For Mr. Dentist, how much is he kicking himself in the head saying, why didn't I just tell her my true feelings from the jump? Now here we are 5, 6, 7, whatever, 8 years later, whatever it may be. What, 6 years?
We actually had communications beginning this year.
That's okay. But
he's in a relationship now.
Okay.
And
but for years
we went back and forth for years.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm with boy.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
well, that's the thing. You were going back and forth because of his feelings. Are you kidding me? He's like, you're still with him? I was like, yeah. But the audacity, because honey, you're upset. The more people get upset, the more you know that they're at fault. You had your chance, honey. You got to say that. You got to express yourself before it's too fucking late. It's too late. It's been too late. And if you want to rekindle something now or in the future, like, okay, like maybe you'll be single. Jim and Pam did this on The Office, and I'm going to reference The Office all the fucking time, ladies and gentlemen, because it's my very favorite show ever. But Jim and Pam did the same thing. She was with somebody, he was with somebody. They kind of, never were really single at the same time, and then they were. And then it just, the timing worked out for them.
Timing,
and it was the best timing.
is
Something
everything.
could happen with you and
You
dentist.
never know.
You never know. I mean, you're technically single now, and good riddance, you know, like good luck with all of that. I mean, I don't fucking know what anybody expects.
My situation.
Right now. I mean, exactly. It's laughable. But right now in this day and age with COVID, I mean, we could talk about dating during COVID, during the pandemic, all fucking day.
Yeah.
This conversation is really during, post-pandemic, where at the end of the day, if you like somebody, fucking tell them. If you're down to fuck, tell them.
Yes.
If you only want to fuck, tell them.
Yes.
And assume that that's the feeling that they're going to have unless they say otherwise. Whether or not you bring that up or they bring that up. I hate bringing up my feelings because I'm overly emotional, but I know it has to go there.
I'm very straightforward. This is how I feel. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Please, cops, stop
I'm better on text to be straightforward. I'm such a pussy in real life because not that I'm a pussy, but I start to cry because I know. I know it's not that I'm crying because I'm sad or I'm crying.
No, you're like, I have to say this. I don't want to say it though.
Because I don't want to.
Your feelings hurts.
I don't want the feelings to hurt. I don't want the feelings to be misconstrued. Sometimes I don't want to say the right. Sometimes
and that's why you don't do it via text. Text doesn't have like.
I write.
Let me tell you,
better than I speak.
I fucking my people think I'm yelling at them when I have caps, and I'm just like, oh shit, it was on. My bad. Yeah. So
But communicating just in general.
Yes, please.
But yes, text is not the preferred. Email is definitely not.
Or you could do the voice thing.
You could totally do the audio recording. I do a lot of audio recordings with friends, and so that's true. But I think that whether or not you're dating for marriage, short term, you don't know, YOLO, communication is key. You know, you don't have to stay so strong with your convictions if your mind changes. But I think that, I mean, at the end of the day, if you just want to have sex, just have sex. But I think that a lot of people are choosing to have sex before they get into the dating world. And again, changing your mind, communicate
especially if you're getting out of a relationship and you're just like, fuck it, I just need to fuck something and just keep it moving. Let me just open the door and fuck.
Yeah, exactly. But please be careful, you know.
Safe sex, people.
Please be careful. Safe sex. We're going to wrap this up, but yes. Please wear a mask before, during, and after sexual relations with strangers. If any of you who are listening would like to ask any questions to either me or Mo, please shoot me a DM on my Instagram. We're all fucked. That's We're All Fckd. And that's my Instagram. And you can shoot me any questions, any follow-ups, any questions for Mo, anything that you think that we should have discussed that you want discussed on another podcast episode. We can definitely do that. Mo will be back more for sure. We will continue to talk about how much we just want to keep getting fucked. And, but we really just want a really meaningful relationship at the same time. So we're trying to figure that out for ourselves. Oh man, so I hope you all enjoyed that as much as we did. So for more pleasure, satisfaction, and discussions, follow my Instagram page. Again, it's We're All Fucked. A huge thanks to all of our sexy listeners, and please always remember that we are all very lucky to live in a time and place where we get to have sex with who and how we want, and that not everybody in the world is afforded that right. See you next Sunday when we will discuss our next topic, and I will announce that throughout the week on my Instagram. It's been a pleasure getting fucked with all of you. Until next time. Thanks again, Mo.
Tiki. You're welcome.
Take care, everyone.